thing with boxing, and I think this is what separates us from other gyms, that, like you say, adds to more of a community feel and more of a relaxing feel, is oddly enough, you get that first initial connotation, that initial stereotype that people are punching each other, so it's going to be a very macho environment, it's going to be a bit intimidating. But actually, it's the opposite.
Get Radio Breakfast with Rich Smith.
We're kicking off something we've been really looking forward to for a number of weeks now. It's Get Radio's Sport Week. We are celebrating all the fantastic sports that happen across the county. If you fancy getting involved this week, there's still time, there's still slots available. You can head over to getradio.co.uk and click on Sports Week and you can find out a little bit more. But what we're going to do now is find out a little bit more about South Moreton Boxing Club as we welcome John Houston. Morning, John.
Hello, Rich. Morning.
Thanks so much for joining us and kicking off Sports Week as well. I'm really excited about this week to find out all the fantastic stuff that's going on through the county. And let's kick things off with South Moreton Boxing Club. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, interesting enough, we're coming up to our 18th birthday in January. So we've been around for a little while. And we're a fully equipped sort of club and gym. We're open from 6 in the morning till 9 at night, Monday to Friday, 8 till 6 Saturday and 10 till 4 Sunday. We run 52 classes a week, and those classes range across Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, MMA, K1, and we do lots of fitness classes as well. We do strength training, various sort of boot camps, circuit classes, kettlebells, all that sort of stuff. So we have about 450 members, and like I said, we're coming up to 18th birthday.
Wow, so it's been going a long time. Always with boxing, I always kind of want to touch on the kind of community, Bill, because it feels that there's a real tight-knit community for members and people that attend, and it becomes a bit of a family-like community. Would I be right in saying that?
Well, I think very much so, and very much particularly around this club, I do feel that. I think, a lot of people join, most people join, we have everybody from professionals, we do amateur boxing, and we have lots of people out in competitions in BJJ, but the majority of our members, 80%, just want a bit of fun and fitness. So they're just looking to sort of, get involved in the sport and use it and looking for something different to the usual gym. They're tired of standing on the treadmill or, on the rowing machine or something. And they just want something, like I say, a bit of fun with their fitness, and they want to enjoy it. So, we have a very community orientated club around here, I think, and I can talk to you about things like we're doing with like the Cornermen project and various different things. But yeah, I do think it's a very friendly environment.
I guess there's, when you sort of talk about boxing clubs and what have you, there's sort of connotations of obviously fighting, boxing, and what have you. And what I've learned from speaking to various different boxing clubs over the time is as much as there's that side of things, and you see, you think boxing, you think punching. There's also the discipline, and there's also the rules side of thing, and that's an integral part of everything that happens as well.
Oh, absolutely. The discipline is very strong. And also, I think the thing with boxing, and I think this is what separates us from other gyms, that, like you say, adds to more of a community feel and more of a relaxing feel, is oddly enough, you get that first initial connotation, that initial stereotype that people are punching each other. So it's going to be a very macho environment. It's going to be a bit intimidating. But actually, it's the opposite. And the reason I think that is if you go into a normal gym, you've got the big guy chucking the weights around, and you've got the guys in the vest taking pictures and all that sort of stuff. But you don't get that here, because you kind of got to park your ego at a boxing club, because generally everybody's been in the same position. Nobody's born knowing how to box. Nobody's born good at boxing. So you tend to sort of come to the club and go, look, I don't really know what I'm doing. Can somebody help me out? And then you realise there's kind of, people will help you, and people will not take liberties or take advantage. They'll just generally coax you along, and you kind of move up that pecking order, if you like, in terms of your skill level. So you've got to reciprocate. So you've got to be nice as well, you've got to help people along, because you're never the toughest guy. There's always someone above you. So I think that makes you park your ego, because you can't get away with going in, picking the weights up, grunting, shouting a lot, chucking the weights down. It's not like that in boxing, because if you go in saying, look, I'm acting like I'm really tough, somebody will say, oh, great, let's jump in for a few rounds. And then it all gets exposed, So you don't tend to get those egos. They tend to get parked at the front door. That's my theory anyway, as to why it's so friendly.
No, for sure. And in terms of fitness now, maybe people kind of watch boxing. I use that in the loosest sense of the term with some of the things that is going on with boxing. But when you're kind of watching that boxing on the TV, perhaps that's maybe people's first sort of intro into it, and you kind of go, oh, there's just lots of standing around and standing off each other and all this kind of stuff. I know from doing little bits of boxing how incredibly fit you become from doing it, but also to get at that level, it is unreal. You think that it's one of those things, even like Muggins here, you think, oh yeah, I think I'll be able to do that. I think I'll be able to hold myself. I think I'll be able to, just keep moving and hold my hands up. It takes it out of you, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So it's a kind of strange sport in that sense. It's very explosive in nature, but you also need the endurance. So most sports don't combine those two things quite so well. And like you say, it's we get a lot of people that come in and have their first fight, and they train up for things like, the Ultra White Collar Boxing Challenge and all that sort of thing, raising money for cancer research, and or people that come here on shows and have their first fight. And you say, well, look, what you've got to do is you've got to box for 3 2-minute rounds. So that's 6 minutes of work with a minute break after every 2 minutes. So when I say it like that, it doesn't sound like a lot.
Yeah.
But I always say, imagine, how you feel after the 100 meters. So if you sprint 100 meters as fast as you possibly can, how do you feel at the end of that? And that's going to take you, maybe, depending on how fit and fast you are, 12 to 15 seconds. I don't know. And then imagine doing that for 2 minutes, and then imagine someone punching you at the same time, and then you've got a kind of idea of what it's going to feel like. So it's a bit, like I said, it is very intense, and explosive and endurance are required as well.
No, for sure. You touched on other projects that you do as well.
Yes.
Just enlighten us about those.
Well, there's lots of things. We've always been involved in sort of raising funds for charity. We've raised about 100,000 for charity over the 18 years we've been here. And a couple of years ago, well, after lockdown, really, we sort of coped all right with lockdown. And then when lockdown, we did a lot of stuff online. And then when lockdown ended, a lot of people I noticed were coming in with more sort of problems, as it were. And often you talk a lot to people when we do a lot of personal training and do a lot of one-to-one sessions, and people chat, and and there seems to be a lot more people kind of presenting with depression, anxiety, PTSD, various different conditions. And a lot of these people weren't really getting help, or saying they were trying to get help after a suicide attempt, and they were really struggling with the NHS. There wasn't a lot on offer. And I'm not criticising the NHS anyway. It's so overstretched, and so underfunded in that area. So I basically got together with a guy here who was training here, a guy called Steve James, and he was the chief support worker at Mayes in Oxford, the homeless charity. And I said, look, I'm seeing a lot more of this, and it seems to be helping people, what we're doing. But it's a bit above my sort of pay grade, really. Some of the things that are coming in, some of the things we're dealing with. And he said, look, I've been thinking the same thing. I think Didcot is a very expanding area, the Didcot-Wallingford area. They're putting a lot of housing in, and there isn't a provision for this type of stuff. So we decided to start a men's mental health and suicide prevention charity called the Cornermen. The idea is that the Cornermen, you need someone in your corner all the time. Life's a fight, and you've got to go out and you've got to do it. It is down to you, but you can have someone in your corner to advise you. They can't do it for you, but they can advise you, about what to do. And obviously with the origins of the boxing club. So we crowdfunded. We initially raised £12,000 crowdfunding. Then we got a national lottery grant, and we got some other grants. So we raised enough money to run the service for the first year, which is about £45,000. Steve came over to work full time at the service based at the club. And we've since then done a lot more fundraising, and we're now, funded for another year. And so we're just coming up to our first year anniversary of that. On 28th of November, I think Steve started full time. And it's been very successful, very well received. We're interlinking with a lot of other support services, all driven by Steve James. He's the professional here. But we wanted to utilise the club. We're in a nice setting, and we just wanted to utilise, especially, like I say, it's men's mental health and suicide prevention. Men don't talk very much. They don't talk very well, but they tend to talk in an environment where you're doing something. So if you're doing the pads, some people aren't up to having a workout. Then it's sort of just a walk, because we're in a nice area, and we will go and pick people up and bring them to the club when they make an appointment. And we found that men will open up if you're doing something, rather than just talking. Sit down and say, how do you feel? Tell me about your problems. Doesn't work so well. But if you're doing something, and also we wanted to remove the stigma of going to any sort of counselling or therapy, which a lot of people have, and they don't want to walk into that. You come to us, we go to the boxing club. Like you say, couldn't be more macho. So, you kind of remove that stigma as well. So that's been a very successful project, and that's very close to my heart, and it's been piloted by Steve, immensely well, and incredible work he's put in, and it's been very successful in the number of interventions we've done and the number of sessions that we deliver and everything else.
Honestly, isn't there, when you talk about, we got you on to talk about Sports Week, but going that extra mile and doing that extra thing is absolutely incredible. It's amazing to hear, and best of luck with everything, John. I really, really, really do mean that. Just finally, annoyingly, I could talk to you all morning, but we have annoying things like travel and songs to get in. I know. But where can people find out a little bit more about South Moreton Boxing Club? So
southmoretonboxingclub.com is the website. They can go on there, and then they can make an appointment to pop in and have a look around, or a tour anytime. There's also links on there to the Cornermen service, but if they want to go straight to the Cornermen service, it's thecornermen.org.
Brilliant stuff. John, I couldn't have wished for a better start to Sports Week, and thanks for joining us this morning.
No worries. Thanks ever so much for the invite. Speak to you soon.
That's brilliant stuff. Sean Houston there, who runs South Moreton Boxing Club on Sports Week here on Get Radio.